Welcome to the Freaky Film Club. I'm your host, Jeremy Jordan, and I am joined by a special guest today, Nicholas Pepin. How's
How's
it
it
going?
going?
It's good to have you on today. We're doing a interesting film, Sleepaway Camp. And it's fitting because it's so effing hot out right now. It's a really good summer movie. Yeah, let's get into it. So,
I was say before we go too far into it, did you do summer camp when you were a kid?
never. No.
No,
Did you?
no. Oh yeah, a couple. Yeah, especially in high school. Well, I did the Boy Scout camp before high school, and then like church camp in high school. But
How
there
long would it be?
a week.
Okay.
Like you'd leave Sunday afternoon and come back like Friday or Saturday.
Okay.
You know, um, there was a camp that when I was working as an intern in Virginia. That I had to work that I did a week of working the camp. So I was a counselor.
Hmm.
It was it reminded me of this week. It was just so like every kid there pretty much passed out of heat exhaustion at least once. Like it was that week was just so miserable hot. Like it was the least fun camp experience ever because like you just nobody wanted to do anything.
God. Did you ever have experiences like that in the movie where it would just be like all out prank wars or like brawls?
Never brawls, but definitely prank wars.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Did you have an awareness of films like this? Did you ever think about that when you were at camp? Like, oh, fuck. Like, what if there's a murderer out there?
I can't I mean, my history with horror films being what it is that I didn't really start watching them until after high school,
Sure.
somewhat in college. Like even after that, so when I was in high school, probably not. I mean, of
Okay.
course, I'm sure we all sat around at night, told scary ghost stories and
Yeah.
the classic cliche like the killer had a hook for a hand, or
Right. Right.
you know. But no, I don't know because I wasn't ever allowed to watch these kinds of movies growing up. Like, them existing. I'm sure people did. I'm sure they
Mhm.
were part of the stories that people told us.
Sure. Yeah.
When they
Yeah.
figured out we had never seen Sleepaway Camp and they were like, oh, this story about the.
Right. All right. Well, I have many more questions about camp as we progress through the plot of this film because I
Okay.
want to know how accurate they got with some things. But we'll move ahead here and first talk about the first time watching experience. Do you remember the first time you saw this?
Yes, because it was just over a year ago.
Okay.
Well, maybe yeah, about a year and a half. It was. I was listening to another podcast, and they were about to do an episode on it. So I was like, I have this thing about podcasts where like, even if they say it's a spoiler-free review, I want to watch the movie before I listen to an episode about it.
Sure. That
So
makes sense.
I watched Sleepaway Camp and then listened to the episode. Um, and I think that's probably when I was like, hey, we should probably do this one day, or maybe it was even already on your list, and I was just like, yep.
Yeah. Yeah, well, this for me this was my first time and I just was always aware of it and I knew of the big reveal just
Right.
from watching like you watch any like top whatever horror marathon and people talk about this movie. I mean, it's become a cult classic and yeah, so
Yeah, the ending was not a surprise even before I watched it for the first time because, like you said, everybody talks about it. It's one of those like, you know, the killer in Friday the 13th is really Jason's mom, not Jason. Like
right, right.
the end of this movie, you're like, wait, what? And
Yeah.
we'll get there. We got to build up to it before
Right.
we discuss it. But
Yeah. But yeah, so that my first viewing was just like a few hours ago. and I'm ready to go. So, Sleepaway Camp, written and directed by a gentleman named Robert Hiltzik, who would go on to do some of the others, and I think some other things as well. There was a lot of, I mean, unknowns in this. They shot it in upstate New York, so a lot of people have like New York accents, and the well, I mean, the actress who played Angela actually went on to be pretty like famous in like the horror world and does like a lot of conventions and shit. Um, I actually have it pulled up because I knew I was going to forget everybody's name, but the Angela was played by Felissa Rose. And then I'm just going to say Ricky was played by Jonathan Tiersten, and I probably won't say anyone else.
Yeah, not a lot of people even. I mean, I guess the director did do a couple other things, but not other than Felissa Rose. Not a lot of people went on to do anything from this movie.
No. But for what it's worth, there was some pretty decent performances by like the kids.
Yeah,
But not out right away. I mean, so let's get into it. Like it opens up, we've got shots of like, excuse me, we got shots of the camp, like the camp, just random camp shots.
right. Which is like it looks like just a bad storm went through. Like I think it's supposed to be like what happened. Like it's like the story of why the camp looks that way. Like because it's been dilapidated and abandoned and it's for sale because of the events that were about to unfold. But like it just really looks like maybe just a bad storm came through. Like it doesn't look
Yeah,
dilapidated. Like,
just a few hours of fixing it up and it'd be fine. Like maybe just
yeah.
clean up here and there. Yeah. So okay, you've got a family on a boat. There's a dad with two kids, and they're just hanging out, relaxing. And then you cut to a group of reckless teens on a speedboat.
What did I write down? I wrote the skier acting. Like the skier's acting is just
Mhm.
so it's almost sublime, like
Mhm.
it's so bad. But that accident that happens, is
Mhm.
that not like the most avoidable accident of all time?
Yeah, they had a lot of time to get out of the way.
I mean, it reminded me kind of like the Austin Powers, like no,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
like 20 minutes later, finally runs him over. Like,
Mhm. Mhm. And then the other guy's reaction is just like, John, like it's like the like most lifeless reaction ever. Um, yeah. So they hit the father and one of the kids, and cuts to 8 years later. Um, and we're introduced to the wacky aunt and Ricky and Angela.
Look what I did.
So
I packed you
it's
and your
revealed
cousin
that
some goodies
Angela is
right
not
up
living
your
with
tail.
them. That they have been together now for quite some time. She's very just out there. I mean, she's like, kids, it's time for camp, and she's being all weird. Like she's on drugs.
right. Like, and the constant like sidebar, like she touches her face and like turns her head. That just won't do.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Like every line she's like talking to, like she asks a question but only to herself. Like,
Right. It's pretty great. Um, so yeah, they get sent off to camp. And as the kids are like pulling up to this camp, which I did write it, it was like camp, I don't know, Arawak or something.
yeah,
Um,
I guess as good as mine. I don't think they ever actually say it. The known to the counselors, which is where I part of your camp experience. There's always a camp cheer that has the name of the camp in it. Like, our
yeah. Okay.
so
All right. Um, so then they kind of have this little weird scene as like the kids are running into the camp where you're introduced to like some of the staff, and the head cook is like a total perv. His name is Artie, I think. And it's like he says this really fucked up thing, and he's just like the other dude who's like working with him in the kitchen is just dismisses him and like, oh yeah, already classic.
right, yeah, he says some like you said, one of the most reprehensible things you could possibly say.
Yeah.
And everybody's just like, oh, that Artie.
Yeah.
Like
There he goes again.
like How do you not immediately fire him?
He must be a damn good head cook.
Like even back in the 80s, I feel like they'd be like, "Oh, this guy's got to go."
Yeah. Okay. So then we are we kind of see like Ricky and Angela look around the camp. He's like showing her around. They run into Judy, who was Ricky's former summer fling. And
Who also is like quite a bit older than Ricky.
yeah, that was odd. How old do you
It-
think Ricky was in this?
I
13?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, Lisa looked like she was a full-on like almost teenager. Well, not almost, a full teenager. And
Mhm.
Ricky looked like he was like middle school. But I mean, granted, I do know that girls tend to mature faster than boys.
That's bullshit and you know it.
Yeah, like that was just, I mean, yeah, he's looking 12, 13, she's looking 17, 18, and like we're supposed to believe that like they were in a summer fling the year before and they, she just really hit a growth spurt. In
Right.
fact, there's a boob joke made. Ricky's friend makes a boob joke right there in front of Angela.
Yes.
Which
That was
you're
good.
like, what? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. So then they kind of go their separate ways. Angela goes to her bunk or her cabin, and Ricky goes talks more to Judy a little bit, and then we cut back to some of the other girls. We're introduced to them, get the idea that a lot of them really don't like Angela, pretty bitchy.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she has one defender,
What are you
but
looking at?
that's about it. Meg and Judy are the, kind of the cruel ones in the bunch. But then after that, we go to the cafe in which everyone is eating. Angela, everyone is kind of like, and still kind of poking fun at her. Ronnie comes up to Angela and is like, "Oh, if you haven't eaten in days, like, why don't I take you to the kitchen and you could pick out some food?" And then the creep takes over, and they walk into the walk-in cooler. And at which point now Ricky comes in and he's like, "Where's Angela?" And they're like, "She went off with dude to go eat." And then Ricky goes in and catches the head cook about to do something horrible.
So even the kids seem to know that Artie is not somebody you can trust.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, like it's just
yeah.
it goes back to like Artie saying some shit. He's clearly trying to do some shit. And the kids and the adults are just like, ah, he's a damn good cook.
Right, like it's fine. Like he makes everything taste so good. Like we can't let him go. And I mean, Mel, though, to be fair, that Mel dude is really unhinged too. So like
Yeah,
he's not really running the greatest operation.
yeah, the adult who owns the camp.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get more to his unhinged a little bit, but
Yeah. So yeah, luckily Ricky catches him before anything goes down. Artie in another great acting moment freaks out and punches the thing in the cooler. I don't even know, punches a box or something. And then Artie gets his comeuppance right away, basically.
yeah, that pot might be the most ridiculous pot in movie history.
I know, I've never seen anything like that.
I have never seen a pot that big ever.
Yeah, that's insane.
That pot is as big. I mean, Artie is a big man, and that pot has to be almost like Artie has to get a ladder to like. What are you doing? Like, do you? All right, I have a regular pot that I it's kind of bigger, but it sits on my burner, and it takes forever to boil water when I want to throw in like 4 ears of corn.
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine how long it would take to get a pot that size full of water to boil.
Yeah, I know, right? It's it's almost like they just had it custom made for that camp. Like Mel was
I
like, we
just
need something to separate ourselves from everybody else.
I just thought of something.
Okay.
And I'm not promoting uh what Artie was doing, but had Artie gone further,
Mhm.
we maybe would have stopped everything that was going to come because Artie would have discovered the secret that we'll get to at the end of the movie.
That's a great point. This
It's
whole
just,
thing could have just like boom.
I mean, like Artie would have probably still gone to jail, but like there would have been a lot of other questions and things brought up. Like
Yeah.
what now?
Wait a minute.
Artie did what and found what?
Yeah, good point. I never really even thought about that.
I've watched this movie a couple times now, and I never thought of it until just right now.
That's funny. So yeah, uh Ronnie, I mean not Ronnie, Artie, gets pushed off his ladder and kind of is dangling there and eventually just ends up kind of pulling the pot down over him and getting boiled. It's like the worst agony ever.
Those hands are clearly man hands. They're not even kid hands.
Yeah, they didn't even try.
They were just straight up man hands. But I gotta say that the Artie effect of him like laying on the floor in the boiling and like the his face like pussing, like that was actually pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree. I thought that
like
was
for
cool too.
for how low budget the rest of this movie was, like
Yeah,
that effect was actually really cool.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Artie screaming, I thought maybe got a little over the top, but you really did feel the agony. I mean, that would suck. There's no other way about it. So then the aftermath of this really is Mel comes in and basically is like driving the staff to shut up and continue working. He bribes basically everyone. He promotes the other cook to the head cook. And then he's like, tell everyone else to shut it, and you'll get like an extra, I don't even know, like $15 or something.
$50 a week for Ben, 15 for the others.
Oh, okay, that's it. All right, nice. So hell of a deal.
And silence about how clearly somebody just tried to kill Artie.
Makes you the head man here now.
Yeah.
Although I wrote this down, did Ben look familiar to you at all?
Ben, kind of.
There's a reason. Not that he did much of anything. He was, one of those kind of, he's been in a shit ton of movies, but it's more of who his son is.
Okay. Well, I think I know because I was reading the back of the box and I saw a familiar last name.
Yeah, his name is Robert Earl Jones.
Okay.
So take a wild guess as to why he looks familiar.
Sure. Related to another Earl Jones that's pretty famous, huh?
No,
Yeah, probably easily way more famous than his dad.
A little bit more.
Darth Vader himself.
Yes.
James Earl Jones.
Yeah. That's pretty sweet. That's cool. It's a cool little nugget. So yeah, that's Ben's payment. And so what are we at?
2,
Oh, there's a prank
3.
with the ass in the face in Ricky's cabin. What do you remember any of the pranks back from your camp days?
I mean, there was a lot of shaving cream, like somebody fall asleep, put the shaving cream on the hand and tickle the nose.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. Water balloons. I would like to say there probably wasn't a lot of nudity. Well, there okay. I mean, that's not true, but there wasn't a lot of asses and faces. Like there was a line,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, but yeah, no, the shaving cream one that happens a little bit later. I don't think anybody tried to stab anybody after that, but
Yeah, well, that's good.
the pranks, generally speaking, at the camps I went to, tended to be relatively harmless.
Okay.
I think most of us understood there was a line that you can't cross.
Sure. That's good.
Maybe because we had been taught by these movies that if you go too far, you'll get stabbed.
Right. Yeah, it's good lessons in these. So the baseball scene is next, and it's a great scene, but it kind of drags a little bit. I mean, it's pretty lengthy. I mean, you basically are watching go on for I don't
But
know.
the trash talk was
The trash talk's
sublime.
great. Yes, eat shit and die. No, you eat shit and live, Bill.
Now, granted, most of the camps I went to were Bible camps,
Hmm.
so there would have been trash talk, but not to that level.
No one said get the fucking bat off your shoulder.
Yeah, there definitely wouldn't have been any cussing.
Okay,
That would have been too far, and I think maybe that's why the pranks didn't go as far. But
fair. Yeah, so I after this little scene here, we cut to the same evening, and the guys are starting to mess with Angela, and Ricky comes and kind of tries to break it up, and a fight breaks out in this, like, I guess it's like a common area. Um, like there's a place to eat, and there's like some shitty 80s music playing in the background. There's a bunch of tables set up.
yeah,
I don't know.
that seemed pretty common. There'd be like a canteen that'd be open for a couple hours. If you had any cash or money in an account, you could buy like snacks or and then you just hang out and kind of there'd be a couple hours every day where it'd be like unstructured time that you could just go hang out with everybody and do whatever you wanted.
Hmm.
Like when it wasn't like we gotta be here at this time for this lesson and here at this time for that lesson.
Yeah.
Everybody from this cabin has to play softball or kickball or there'd be the couple hours of not unsanctioned, but unstructured, like do whatever you want time.
Sure. Camp sounds fun. Is it too late? Can I go still?
There needs to be adult camp.
There's got to be some out there.
There probably
Yeah.
is.
I think there's actually like a slasher camp where you like get chased by like actors around over like a weekend. I forget
Could
what it's
be.
called, but my sister sent me a link to that one year.
It could be fun
Yeah, could be.
or terrifying.
Or that. So yeah, that fight breaks out in that area, and eventually the adults come in and break it. Well, not really adults. They're like older teenagers, right? I mean, I think they were like the counselors.
Yeah, it was really hard to tell who the counselor were and who the kids were.
Yeah.
Because like I think Meg was a counselor and Lisa wasn't, but they were like the same age.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah. and like when all the camps I went to were definitely much more segmented when it came to age groups. Like there was middle school camp, and there was high school camp, and like they didn't meet. Like this seemed like there were little kids and bigger kids. Like they're just wide range of ages here. And the camps I went to, and I can't say every camp was like that, but the camps I went to, the ages would not have been that different. I mean, maybe had freshmen and had seniors, but you never had like, middle schoolers or, elementary school kids at the same place.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah. So they break it up, and Ricky, his friend, tries talking to Angela. Once the dust settles, Ricky's friend, his name is Paul, I think. Yeah.
Sure.
So Paul talks to Angela, and he has success because he gets a good night, and that's the first word really that she says to anybody at the camp. So he leaves feeling pretty happy, and the next morning. Oh no, not yet. Sorry, my fault. The same night, they do a prank on one of the girls at the lake. A bunch of the boys, they end up like rocking a canoe and tipping it over. And Kenny and some girl, and she obviously gets pissed off, leaves the area, and Kenny ends up getting drowned. Gets held under.
Your friend is in a lake
Mm-hmm.
under a canoe.
Mm-hmm.
and you're just like, fuck it, let's leave.
Yeah, that seemed pretty irresponsible. And
Yeah, yeah, that was, all right. And the man hands also show up again.
oh yes, that's right. Yes, the man hands. Yeah. But yeah, that was weird. I mean, not one person was just like, maybe just hang back a little bit and just see if he comes. Or even that later that night, like as they're winding down to go to bed, like maybe we should go back out there and check.
I mean, maybe it's just me, but I would say that, like, if my friend was in a canoe and I watched it flip over
Uh-huh.
and I didn't see him again or see the canoe moving, I would have immediately gone in the water. I would not have just been like, let's go to sleep.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty stupid. But they are pretty dumb kids, so I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, we do need to talk about one guy before he comes back into the movie. When the cop showed up for Artie,
Mm-hmm.
okay, he's important later because of something that happens with him.
Okay.
But there's a cop with a big 1980s cop mustache.
Oh yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's there talking about Artie and how it's an accident. He fucks off.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll talk about him again in a little bit.
And they end up going to that movie together.
I guess not.
Okay.
Yeah. And let's see. Oh, this is when Mel starts to like panic a little bit?
I don't know if Mel's panicking just yet, but I know it's coming up soon. Where's because I have in my notes after the thing that Meg is freaking out about Angela refusing to swim and like she's just losing her shit over it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Angela, I'm talking to you. Are you
Like
going
Angela's
in
just
the
like,
water?
I don't want to swim or I'm not gonna go. And Meg just is losing like
Mm-hmm. Yes, I remember that. Yeah. And then Billy gets killed. This is the point, right, where Billy gets stung.
oh, okay, yeah, that's right. Okay. So Billy goes into the bathroom
Mm-hmm.
and then somebody puts the smallest broom handle ever
Yeah.
um,
Lock the
into
doors.
to lock the door and then cuts a hole in the screen and drops a beehive in.
Mhm.
Which I gotta say, Billy being kind of not like one of the bigger like adult camper or adult, not adults, but like, I would say college age,
Mm-hmm.
like he would have been able to like kick that door open pretty easily.
Yeah, I would
Not
think
not,
so.
not get stuck and then because I think Mel doesn't start freaking out until now because now this is the
Third, yeah,
third death. Well, I don't. They never say Artie died, but I mean, let's just go ahead and assume he did because
that's safe
you know,
assumption. Yeah. I mean, and or he even like could have climbed over it, couldn't he? I mean, it seemed like
under it, over it, like like I feel like if bees are attacking you, like you're gonna be, the strength to kick because he does end up breaking the broom handle to get, but not before he gets stung enough that he dies.
yeah.
But like, I'm saying like if Beehive comes in, I'm kicking that thing like one good swift kick.
And then you're out.
Yeah.
Fuck it. Yeah.
I mean, I'd get stung a couple times, but maybe not enough to kill me.
Yeah. So yeah, that's as we said, Mel.
Yeah,
This is when he
maybe,
starts to
just
panic because it's the third one, and he really starts to believe now that there's a killer. That night, Paul kisses Angela, and they're on the beach, and she gets triggered, and flashes back to a traumatic moment from the past.
Which is really, really weird and really out of place.
Yeah. Yeah.
So apparently watching her father make out with a dude. So her father was apparently gay,
Mhm.
homosexual.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently that somehow like warped her.
Yeah.
That made no sense to me. Like You'd have thought you'd have just been like, okay, that's weird, or not end up helping to create the problem that it ends up creating.
Yeah. Um, yeah, and then just the way it was shot was really weird. Like suddenly it was like he was trying to make like an art film, and it was like, what is going on? Like we were just, can someone get stabbed in the chest soon, please, or something? Like anything. But yeah, so that happens, and she freaks out. Angela freaks out, and uh, you know, causes Paul to leave, and or she just leaves actually. Like, Paul's like, what the fuck? And then next day, Paul tries to make things right, but then ends up going off with Judy. So things get worse. So then Ricky and talks Angela into trying to help him because he's currently in the middle of a game of capture the flag, and he's like, she has a plan to get the flag. So in going into their plan, they go into the woods and they see Paul and Judy about kissing, and they act kissing, and Angela, of course, freaks out by this, and then Paul tries to apologize, but is interrupted, and
I did write in there that Judy is a bit of a tramp.
Yeah,
a bit of a bit like the only reason, like, so she only was trying to make out with Paul to get at Angela because like she hated Angela so much she was gonna, like, so basically she was like fucking over two people because like Paul was like, oh yeah, all right, like this the hot girl of camp is into me.
Is it Judy? I kept saying Lisa. Sorry, Judy.
I wrote Judy, but I could be wrong.
You're probably right.
But like she's only making out with Paul to get back at Angela because she hates Angela for no apparent reason other than Angela's a little weird and quiet.
Yeah, exactly. There's really no other reason. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. It's Judy. I'm sorry. Every time I said Lisa, I'll just cut in myself saying Judy.
Oh, okay.
It wouldn't be the first time, actually. I fuck up names all the time. It's a horrible habit.
Names in movies like this are hard to keep in track. We glossed over one thing.
Okay.
There was a bunch of campers and counselors hanging out on the roof of a cabin.
Oh, yeah.
Like throwing water balloons
Yeah.
at people. Like,
That's true.
there's no way that another like more adult counselor or like Mel wouldn't have been like, because he wasn't like, because Mel was starting to freak out by that point.
Mm-hmm.
He was just like, he wasn't like, get off that roof, you kids. He was like, okay, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Kids hanging out on the roof, that's clearly okay. Nowhere, horribly unsafe.
Yeah. Forgot about that moment. But yeah, so Judy and Meg throw Angela into the water after Paul tries to apologize again for what happened. And at this point, Mel is freaking out because he thinks Ricky did it, so he's like grabbing Ricky. And at the same time that this is happening, she's getting tossed into the water. So then, like, Ricky gets to her, like breaks away, gets to her, and then goes to comfort her. And as they're walking back, a bunch of kids throw sand at her. Like she's just having a horrible time.
Yeah, I don't really understand. Like everybody, I don't understand why everybody hates. I mean, other than the fact it's a movie and we're all,
Right.
But it makes, whatever. But why do you think that Mel has so quickly convinced himself that Ricky is the killer?
I don't know. I mean, there's so many other kids at this thing. Like, why him? What motive does he even have?
Well, I guess, I mean, Mel does say something about every time Angela gets in trouble, like you step in. And then I guess he kind of puts two and two together that the people who have been killed at this point have been some of Angela's biggest tormentors. But like,
Sure.
why wouldn't you think Angela?
Yeah.
Like, why would you think Ricky? Like,
Yeah. I don't know. That's kind of weird. So then Meg is Meg Meg asks about going to dinner with Mel. This is weird.
Yeah, that's another.
Guess who has
Maybe
product?
that's why Mel was a little bit more lenient
Congratulations.
towards Artie because he was kind
Yeah.
of doing it himself. Like,
Yeah. They're all a little nuts at this place. So he's all excited. Meg goes to get ready, so she takes a shower over at this other unoccupied cabin and is killed in the shower.
and for a 1980s slasher film,
Mhm.
killed in the shower, surprisingly clean. Like
Mhm.
like not a lot of editing you'd have to do in that scene to show it on TV.
Yeah. Very true. Paul then tries to apologize yet again, and Angela says meet at the water. So then they show a scene of Eddie taking a bunch of kids out camping, and the kids are like, it's cold, like we want to leave.
All right.
And so
Up
then
to the car.
they that was really short. It was just like this kind of a setup to what's about to happen later. So then Mel is frantically looking around for Meg and eventually does find the body, which again, maybe pretty nice effects on this. I mean, they weren't too bad. It's kind of a slit down her back. It was pretty simple, but
Yeah, I mean, clearly the budget went for some of the special effects, not paying the actors.
yeah. Yeah. So then Judy has her death scene. This is pretty creative. She's killed with a hot curling iron while being held down with a pillow over her head. And it goes up a particularly painful area.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that anybody deserves to be killed that way, but Judy, because we're about to find out who the killer was if we haven't already given it away.
Yeah. Yeah. So then again, there's some more horrible things discovered as we see that some of the kids that throw sand from earlier are hacked to bits. It's horrible. And then Mel thinks it's Ricky and starts to beat the crap out of him. And he then kind of like just runs off into the woods, and he's like, "Oh, it's you," and then like gets an arrow through the throat. Or neck.
Yeah. I don't really. I mean, man, I honestly thought like Mel tried like actually killed Ricky, like, and then because there was a couple minutes where like, wait, did Mel kill Ricky? Because I couldn't remember,
Mhm.
and then then Ricky came back, but
Yeah,
he did take a beating from an old guy.
he sure did. So then the police arrive and they begin to search the area. Paul and Angela meet at the beach. Angela suggests they take all their clothes off. Paul is pumped. Ricky is found alive, luckily, and I was happy about that. Ricky's a cool character.
And our friend the cop has returned.
Yes. Okay. Yes, he has returned.
Okay. With the most obvious fake mustache of all time. Like it's one of those like stickers. Like they didn't even like paint it on or like try to get like a fake mustache they glued on. Like it's just a straight up sticker. Like apparently the cop filmed his scene and then went off and did some other stuff, and then they decided to bring him back and he had shaved his mustache. And instead of just going, all right, well, he shaved his mustache, they made him put a fake sticker mustache on. Like
That's awesome.
it's it's distracting how fake it is. Like it really Like, it would have been better just to be like, have a line of like, "Oh, so you shaved your mustache? Yeah, just it's time to go," or something. No, here's a sticker.
Yeah, that was something. It was special. uh, so big crescendo here as Ronnie and Susie discover Angela nude, holding Paul, and humming. And we cut to a flashback where it's revealed that Angela was actually Peter, the boy, who was just raised by the eccentric aunt to be a girl.
Because
Angela.
she couldn't. She already had a boy, and that just wouldn't do. It just wouldn't do.
It just wouldn't do. Nice. So yeah, I mean, big twist. After the flashback, you see right out there, it's a dick. I don't know how else to put it. There's
And
a dick.
I love the fact that, like, you know, they put an Angela mask on this gentleman, and then like freeze framed it with like,
I know, like what? That was that's what they decided on. And they thought it was so good, like they were like, let's save it and roll credits over it too. Like, not even fade it out. We won't dissolve it. We're gonna keep the credits rolling while you look at it because it's so good.
oh yeah, it's so.
Oh yeah. So that's Sleepaway Camp. Now, I don't know if I'm like supposed to get anything other than like am I'm kind of dumb sometimes, and I don't know if I'm supposed to pick up on some subtle things that it's trying to teach me about gender roles or this and that. But as a slasher film, it's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's a solid film. It's not great. I mean, the acting is not good. The
No.
budget was clearly low. But like as just a fun slasher film, it's pretty good. I understand why it became a cult classic. It's
Mhm.
fun. I
Mhm.
mean, you know, I think you know, I don't know if I'm giving more thought to it or trying to justify the weird twist ending. Was because I know a lot of people say, "Oh, this movie's transphobic," and I don't see it that way, because at no point do they say that Angela is like transgender. Like,
Right.
this is a woman, a girl who went through a traumatic experience of seeing her father in a homosexual embrace, and then rather than talk about it or be like, "Oh, well, people are like that," gets hit by a speedboat,
Mhm.
and her father and brother are killed.
Mhm.
And rather than go to counseling or do something, they give her to a weird aunt who's like, "Well, you're going to be a girl now
Mhm.
because we can't have two boys."
Mhm.
So Peter, who should have gone to counseling,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah.
gets
Instead.
put in, yeah, instead ends up with a weird, crazy aunt who tries to turn him into Angela.
Yeah. So it just makes it 100 times
Right.
worse.
So she clearly creates the psychotic serial killer that this kid, or spree killer that he becomes. I don't even know what the right term is, and I'm trying to be,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
because I mean, clearly Angela throughout the entire movie is played by Felissa Rose, a biological female.
right.
And at no point do you ever think that could be a man, except for like when they cut to just the man hands,
Mhm.
which I guess was supposed to be our clue that something was wrong. I mean,
Sure.
so the twist ending really for me came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like, until they were like, "This is what it is." You're like, "Wait, what?" Like,
Yeah.
it just, like, there weren't hints along the way. Like, other than, she refuses to shower with people. Like, I mean, I guess it kind
Mhm.
of, and then the whole weird thing that the aunt had with, getting the physicals from
Oh yeah.
clearly, clearly less than reputable. Don't tell them where we got your physicals. Like,
Right,
I
right.
guess all that
Yeah.
makes sense, but at no
Yeah.
point there's nothing to lead you to believe that this is where we're headed.
Right. Yeah. You'd have
You
to like
know,
really put your sleuthing hat
yeah.
on. Yeah, and if I almost wish I didn't know, like, because I would have just been like, what is this? Is this?
Yeah,
But
at the same time, like I wish I had, the first time I saw it, but again, because the ending is so, synonymous with crazy twist endings, and I feel like Tell 'em Steve Dave must have talked about it at some point.
yeah, I had to have, yeah, yeah,
Um, that I had heard the ending, I had seen it somewhere, I had, had come across it at some point,
sure, yep,
so I was not shocked,
yeah,
because I knew it was coming.
yeah.
Like you, I wish I had, because it would have been so like I don't know how I would have rated the movie differently, but
Hmm. Well, how about a hell yeah moment?
um, I mean, hell yeah moment, I guess. Uh, I, well, I don't know if I have. I mean, I guess the hell yeah moment would be like not Lisa, Judy finally
All right.
getting it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, yeah,
Yeah, that's a good one. That was brutal. So brutal. Well, my hell yeah moment was gonna be the entire opening with the boat. And then as far as final rating, I give this 3 curling irons out of 5. How about you?
I'm also gonna give it. I'll give it three. Uh, oh man, I thought I had one, but then I just forgot it. Three unnaturally giant pots out of 5.
Nice.
I will say though, like I mean, not necessarily a hell yeah moment, but one of my favorite kill of the movie would be the pot, the giant pot, like just because that effect. I mean, most of the budget for this movie went to that effect. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, that was really, really cool. Yeah, so I mean, I guess that's about it for this episode, unless there's any more tidbits that you had for this.
no, it does honestly make me want to hunt down the sequels.
Yeah,
I did look. I think a couple of the sequels are on Peacock.
nice.
Um, because I think there's like 5 of them.
That's a lot.
Yeah. They made one of them as recent as like '04, '06. Like it was, but like it's I don't know. Like I know there's like Sleepaway Camp 2 and 3, and then like Return to Sleepaway Camp. I don't know. Like they're just
Yeah, I was reading that Return is like a direct sequel that ignores a couple of the other ones.
oh, so I went with the Halloween theory.
Yeah. But then I was also rating a little bit that it wasn't so good. So I don't know. But I would like to hunt those down too. Well,
Because like I definitely like it was enough fun that I wanted to okay, yeah. So 2 and 3, so Unhappy Campers, Teenage Wasteland, and The Survivor. And then 5 was 2008. Wow.
oh my God.
Um, so yeah, 2 and 3 are available. 4 and 5 are probably going to be harder to find. But yeah,
Okay.
you're right. I think I had read that Return to Sleepaway Camp was supposed to be more of a direct sequel. I didn't know if it like got away from. Although I'm looking at the poster for Sleepaway Camp 2, Unhappy Campers,
Hmm.
and it's a girl with clearly 80s hair with a Jason mask and a Freddy glove hanging out in a backpack.
Oh my God. That's awesome. I'm in.
Angela Baker escapes from a mental hospital and surfaces as a summer camp as a counselor.
Cool.
So, they let the girl who was the killer from the first movie be a counselor again.
Makes
Oh,
sense. Makes a lot of
yeah,
sense. Well,
right. And of
join
course,
us next time for Sleepaway Camp 2.
yeah, it looks like that one's easy to find. So
Okay, cool. Well, that's good. I know what I'll be doing this evening then.
maybe this weekend. I don't know. So
All right, buddy. Well, that's going to wrap it up then for our episode of Freaky Film Club. But we'll be back again real soon with some more freaky films. Thanks. Do you want to pimp anything before you leave?
I mean, the show that you and I do together, Pop Culture Roulette.
Yeah, we probably should promote that. Pop Culture Roulette. We're all over the place.
We're almost up to episode 100.
Mm-hmm,
We're getting close.
Mm-hmm. We've got
not sure
exciting
we'll-
plans.
I don't know how exciting they're going to be, but I've got some plans.
It'll be fun. It'll be fun either way.
Yeah. I mean,
Even if
always
it's
a
not
good time.
exciting, it'll still be fun.
So
Yeah. What about a 80s like flashback?
I just did an episode with Dead Poet Society for them. So depending on when you release this, Dead Poet Society will already be released or about ready to be released. I
All
know
right.
I'm scheduled for Halloween 5 and Jason 5.
Sweet. Jason 5 is fun.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Well, because the ones that he had done, like the guy who he had been doing them wasn't necessarily thrilled about doing 5, and I'm like, I will absolutely do it.
Nice. That's cool. I
So
look forward to hearing that one.
yeah.
All right, man. Well, that does it then. Oh, popcultureroulette.com. Or does that redirect still? No, I don't think it does.
I don't know.
I think you can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/popcultureroulette or Twitter, popcultureroulette, via mediapodspatch.com, popcultureroulette tab. I think all those places. Instagram.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's it. Goodbye. Stay freaky.